Now live from the studios of Channel 7, it's Detroit's only morning talk show, the Emmy Award-winning Kelly and Company.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Kelly and Company. It happens, you know, every weekend downtown in Greektown. Lines form all the way around the block waiting for that wonderful Greek food. And yesterday was Greek Independence Day, so we thought we'd bring a little Greece right into your own home with us this morning. Yay!
Hey,
How do you pronounce that? We're gonna call it spinach pie. I'd like you to welcome back to Kelly and Company, Tula Patsalis.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Indeed, a week of celebration it's been. They had a great big parade downtown Greektown with the Evzona, the Greek soldiers.
Yeah.
There's a statue right behind you.
Oh, yes.
And then they had festivities last night at the Institute of Arts, and there were dignitaries from Washington. And they had the Evzona there again, and our bishop was there, and it was really very wonderful.
Where did this originate? Where did the Independence Day?
The Independence Day was the freedom from the Turks after 400 years of being occupied. And I think everybody celebrates freedoms. It's so important. We take it for granted here in this country, but other countries in Europe have experienced all these oppressions and things, and when you have your freedom, you appreciate it and you celebrate
Now,
it.
this goes on for a whole week.
Yeah, well, no,
basically.
actually it's one day.
One
It's March
day?
25th, yes, but they have celebrated it all week. You know, the Greeks celebrate everything for a long time. They look for hangnails to celebrate it, but anyway.
Well, you know, the smell here is just
Isn't it great?
wonderful.
I've already started with these ingredients, Marilyn, and you know, I
It
think
is
you'd probably
wonderful.
like it knowing that you don't like meat. This spanakopita is made with basically all vegetables. There's the basic thing, of course, is the spinach. And then there's fresh dill, and there's scallions, and there's celery, and there's parsley in it. There's cottage cheese that you can use as a substitute, but basically you use the feta cheese, which is a goat's cheese, and it's very, very healthy. So you can
But you can use
feta
cottage cheese. Why would you use? Because it's not as fattening. Is that it? or
Well,
something?
no, people substitute the cottage cheese just to take some of the salty taste away from the feta, because that is one drawback of feta. It
Yes,
is salty.
very
So it
salty.
gives you a little bit more of a balance. And then you bind the whole mixture with three beaten eggs, and we have the recipe already. I've sauteed all the vegetables in the skillet with a little bit of olive oil and butter. And all of this is taken, and we're going to incorporate it with the spinach. But I'd like to talk about the spinach first. Wonderful spring spinach is coming into season. It's delicate and tender. Later on in the season, these stems become very, very tough and rubbery. So you want to remove that before you go ahead and mix your spinach. I've already removed it and cut it all
I
up into
never knew
little
that.
pieces. So you want to be careful with that. Not so much now in the spring, but later on as we go into the season and the vegetables get real large and everything. So we're incorporating all the vegetables that I have sauteed, and we're going to, I'd like to bring this a little closer to me. We're going to put the cottage cheese in, and we're also going to put the feta cheese in, and you're going to pour the egg.
Of
beaten
course, it's
egg,
not
three
fattening
beaten
at all.
egg. No, not fattening. And I put about a tablespoon of cream of wheat in it, because there's so much moisture in the spinach itself that it'll absorb some of that moisture. Now, this has to be mixed very, very thoroughly, and make sure everything is incorporated, and it takes a few minutes to do that.
I'm sure it does. Shouldn't they be torn up a little
They
bit more
could
than
be
that?
torn up a little bit more than that, Marilyn, but once you cook them, you know, they decrease in size, and we're going to show you how we're going to do that. I have had that mixture sitting overnight. In fact, I worked on that last night, and this morning I woke up and I baked these wonderful little triangles, and I'd like to show technique of making the triangle.
It's watering. And I'm standing here and my mouth is watering. It looks so wonderful.
Before we run out of time, I'd like to show a little bit about how we're going to fold it, though I'm going to leave that mixture go, because I think people got the idea of how it's mixed. And here I have a regular pan of phyllo dough that's already layered with 3 layers of phyllo on the bottom, which would be your base. And in between those layers, you have brushed on clarified butter, which I have in this little pan here. And the clarified butter is just taking that milky residue away from the butter, and it prevents it from burning and giving you kind of an off flavor to it. It gives you a pure flavor.
You can't use margarine.
You can use Mazola, you can use margarine if you like, but you're trading off flavor again, Marilyn. So it's better, I feel, to take 2 bites of that wonderful thing full of calories than having 10 of them without, you know, the butter in it. Do you follow what I mean?
Whoever takes 2 bites of that.
That's the truth. So then you would take, after this is thoroughly mixed, you would take it and put it in here, and then you would cover it with 3 more layers of phyllo with butter in between them. So does everybody have the idea of that?
Sure
Because
do.
I want to show you how to make the triangle, which I think is the biggest technique. So I'm going to put this back here for a minute. And the phyllo dough comes in packages. My mother, who is a wonderful, wonderful cook, makes the phyllo dough herself, stretches it on this big table, and makes the best crispy phyllo dough. However, being a working woman and a little bit lazy, I don't have the time to do it, so I buy it by the pound at the grocery store. And most grocery stores carry this, and it's very easy to work with. You should keep a dampened paper toweling over it just to keep it from getting too dried out, because it does dry very quickly. And I'm just brushing a little bit of butter on it, as you can well see. And I'm going to take another sheet, and it just takes 2 sheets, and we're going to make these wonderful strips and go ahead with a triangle real quick, because I have a feeling we're running out of time. And this technique, oh good, and this technique is so beautiful that I think they're nice for appetizers, and they're very, very nice for individual servings. So as you can see, I have 2 sheets layered there with the clarified butter in between. If you want to make appetizers, you're going to want to cut these in very, very small strips of maybe 2.5 to 3 inches. If you want a large serving for a luncheon, you'll make it about 4 inches. So you determine that before you get started, and I'll show you the different sizes as we fold them up. This mixture, as I said, was made ahead of time, and you can see what happens to the spinach after it sets for a while, and it's full of juices. So you're going to take...
That would make a great dip, wouldn't it?
Oh, it is wonderful. You take about a tablespoon of that and put it right at the end. And then we're going to fold this just as we would the American flag. You'll take both of those pieces and go over and up and over and up. Do you see how that's done?
Yep.
Over.
Even I see how that's done.
And up. It's not really difficult, and it looks absolutely charming after it's finished. And then you would lay it on your cookie sheet like this, and you would dab just a tad of butter on top, and you'd bake it. And that's exactly how it's going to look. It's going to bake off, and they're going to be golden, just like the other ones I did this morning.
How long do you bake that?
20 minutes at 400 degrees.
20 minutes
20 minutes at 400 degrees, yep. Not a long time. You can have them done in no time. And these freeze beautifully, so...
You know, there's not too much to go wrong, is there?
No,
Not really.
And if you have time one evening, you know, you can...
Quit laughing
As long as you
out there.
have the ingredients, you can do them ahead of time and freeze them. And if you're expecting company, you can take them out of the
Freeze them like that.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
freeze them just like this. If you're expecting company, now you see that would be a nice luncheon size. And
Yeah.
that's the size I
That's the
made
size
for
you
the
made?
presentation today. But these are nice for bite size, 2 bites and it's gone, you know, for an hors d'oeuvre party or something. So that's what you should predetermine on something like this.
I think
So I
everybody
think-
in our office can hardly wait till we're finished.
Shall I
Tula.
do one more? Do you think so?
Get that food out in the hall.
Yeah. Shall I do one more so they can see the
Yeah.
fold again? Okay. Take the corner, fold over, up, over, over. This,
Just like the flag.
just like the flag. Yep. There. See how pretty it is? A nice little bundle.
Well,
And
you
it makes
just keep making them, okay?
Okay.
Just go ahead, Tula.
Thank
of course,
you very
Tula
much.
is the founder and owner of Kitchen Glamour. Thanks so
Thanks,
much for
Marilyn.
coming down.
Thanks a lot
What do
for
we say?
inviting me.
Happy
Greek Independence Day.
Happy Greek Independence
Chronia
Day.
Pola, everybody. That's what you'd say.
What is that?
Many years, many happy years.
what-
Chronia Pola. Chronia
Kronia Pala.
Yes.
Kronia Pala.
Oh, that a girl, Marilyn.
I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Should rock music be censored? Does it contain sexual or satanic messages? We'll discuss this important issue with Tipper Gore of the Parents Music Resource Center next.
The hardest thing about coming to the Brass Bed and Leather Gallery is making up your mind. We have over 150 brass beds, iron beds, day beds with trundles, sofas, sectionals, office chairs, all under one roof. When you come in here, you don't see catalogs. You see the actual piece on display. That's real important. You see it, you feel it, you touch it, you take it home with you. We deliver it to you. We carry quality pieces, name brands only, at low, low discount prices. We're open 7 days a week. Please come and see us.
I've been expecting you. Your destiny awaits. The voices from ancient Egypt call out. Are you ready? The lovers. You will soon fall madly in love. Next, the Two of Cups. You will have luck beyond your wildest dreams. And now, a card of adventure. The world is yours.
Call the tarot about love, success, money. Dial 1-976-2222, 250 plus toll.
A spectacular new museum of African American history will soon be inaugurated in the Cultural Center. Volunteers are needed for hosting, tour guides, gift shop attendants, library, office work, and more. Please call 899-2500.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dworkis. At Professional Veterinary Hospitals, we know love is the most important thing you can give your pet. Good health care is part of that love. Our professional staff combines experience and knowledge with plenty of tender, loving care.
Springtime is heartworm time. Every dog needs an annual heartworm test this week at PVH. The cost of protecting your pet from this killer disease has never been lower, only $5.
See the yellow pages for the PVH nearest you or call 552-9100.
Go the distance, scale the heights. You'll go far in Famous.
Fava sells shoes with stitched soles, padded insoles, hand-woven leather uppers. At Fava, the styles stand out and the shoes stand up. Fava guarantees it.
You'll go far.
Right now, spring dress shoes for the whole family are on sale at Fava. Beautiful looks for women, just $10.90. Handsome men's styles, $12.90 and $7.90 for kids.
You'll go far in Famous.
Thank you. Nearly a third of young Americans in grades 7 through 12 in this country are problem drinkers. The average now is up to 5,000. About 5,000 young people commit suicide in this country every year. The teen pregnancy rate is now 1 million a year in the United States. Our next guest this morning believes that these truly frightening statistics are caused by the influence of pornographic messages that are contained in music, that includes videos, television, movies, and certain advertisements. She's the co-founder of a group called Parents Music Resource Center, which is based in Washington, D.C. Please welcome Tipper Gore to Kelly and Company. Because the tenor of our conversation is going to change radically and get quite serious, I'm going to ask you right at the beginning. Your real name is Mary Elizabeth, right?
Yes.
Where did Tipper come from?
It's a nickname that stuck. I got when I was very, very young.
Not going to tell me any more than that?
No. It was just something that my mother came up with, and it was supposed to be temporary because Mary Elizabeth was a long name for a 6-month-old, and it stuck.
Son of a gun.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to stay with it. Okay. Do the subject. You have 4 children.
Yes, I do.
Are they the reason that you became aware of some of the obscenities that are in the music that they listen to?
They are aware. And first of all, I'd like to say that I think there are many causes for the burdens that the youth today find and the choices that they have to make and the kind of stimulation that they get in the media. My book is about the excesses and its impact on younger children. And my own children, the oldest of which is now 13, tuned me in to the way the content had changed. I mean, I grew up loving rock and roll, and I still love it, watching television, going to movies. But today, you will find far more graphic and explicit sex and violence on television, in the movies, and the most recent development is in music, particularly heavy metal music. And the message is one of a brutality against women and a glorification of violence. And I think it can have an insidious effect on our attitudes, and it can at least frighten younger children when they see these images. And I think it's something that parents ought to be aware of and tune in to their children's world.
Let's get specific.
Yes.
Specifically, music, heavy metal. Now, we didn't get your book
Here's
until
my
this
book.
morning, which is here, and we have
open
a
it up.
wonderful electronic photograph of it. I will hold it up. Don't worry about that.
No, I want to show you a picture in there, which will
Okay.
illustrate
You got
some
pictures
things.
in here?
Yes.
Grab the picture, because I have a
'Cause there aren't
publisher's
pictures in there.
uncorrected proof here.
That's right.
And some of the examples that you cite from groups like Venom,
Mm-hmm.
you've got a lot of young people here from electronics class at Waterford, right? Have you ever heard of a group called Venom? Yeah. Venom, okay. Slayers
Slayer.
does a thing called Rain in Blood. Rain in Blood.
Right.
I can't read all of this.
Venom, Slayer, Merciful Fate. There are bands that have introduced Satanism to kids because that's in their lyrics, that's in their image. There are other bands who use Satanism as a gimmick. It's just to get attention. They're not serious about it. So you have to separate that.
But you believe some of them are real Satanists?
They tell you that. They
say we are.
In interviews.
You
yes.
sure it's not a gimmick? I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Regardless
All I know
of
is
the
what
fact,
they
though,
say.
you're
All I
saying
know
the
is what
stuff
they
is-
say.
yeah.
Well, you can look at the lyrics of a group like Slayer. They're very dedicated lyrics about really the theology of Satanism. So all you have to do is look at that.
You've got some interesting. The bitch's soul lies raped in demonic lust. That's pretty clear. I can't repeat what it says before that.
Exactly, but every song on that album is
Sacrifice,
similar.
oh so nice, sacrifice to Lucifer, my master. This is Venom. Bring the chalice, raise the knife, welcome to my sacrifice, plunge the dagger in her breast, I insist. S-A-C-R-I-F-I-C-E, demons rejoice, sacrifice, sacrifice, name your price. Great stuff. Ain't exactly Stardust.
It's a little different, and that's my point. And particularly if you look at the audience, they are younger kids. They can be anywhere from 9 to 16. I think older teens and young adults are certainly capable of making decisions and choices on their own. But my concern is the younger kids who are finding these things available to them without a lot of adult supervision.
What do you want to show me?
Well, you mentioned suicide, and that's, of course, a very serious topic. And there are some lyrics that deal with suicide. There are television shows that deal with the subject.
What? What television shows?
Well, it's been a theme on some shows like Miami Vice and others where somebody will be depressed and will kill themselves.
But
This
is
has
it
happened.
glamorized?
I don't know if it's... I'm just saying
Is
that
it made
the
appealing
subject
on
is-
television? I mean, we can't avoid the subject, can
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to make the point that it's not only rock music.
Mm-hmm.
And that I don't think is fair.
But what I'm doing is differentiating between addressing the topic of teen suicide and doing it in a fairly responsible manner. I know that Miami Vice doesn't really reflect what police work is all about, but I don't think they would make teen suicide appealing, whereas some of the lyrics that you cited in the book say, boy, that's a great thing to do, and I'm looking for them now. Oh, here it is.
Right.
Life, it seems, will fade away, drifting further every day, getting lost within myself. Nothing matters, no one else. I have lost the will to live, simply nothing more to give. There is nothing more for me, need the end to set me free.
Well,
That's terrible.
Well, it's important that perhaps parents realize that if one of their children is depressed and does have some symptoms and is obsessed with some of the music that has lyrics like this, it can be a warning sign for them. That is what I am trying to tell parents. There are 2 ongoing lawsuits about lyrics that deal with suicide. One is Ozzy Osbourne, and a boy committed suicide while listening to his song, and another one is Judas Priest. Now, it's debatable. You don't say that listening to the lyrics or the lyrics cause the suicide, but they can contribute to a climate.
Very
And here's-
recently, 6 suicides in Chicago, and one of them left a note behind quoting a song from The Doors.
Exactly. And in my book, I cite 2 letters. I've gotten more, but 2 letters from parents who talk about the lyrics, the pro-suicide lyrics they found in their children's effects after the children killed themselves. This is Ozzy Osbourne. He says he doesn't promote suicide. Yet here he is in the
could
picture.
possibly be putting the world on, he thinks, but people who are impressionable, particularly young people, say he isn't. That's it. That's the message. You don't see beyond the burlesque that I think is obvious there. But of course, I'm a little older than 12.
I know.
We have to take a break.
All
We'll be right back.
Tomorrow, the master of impersonation, Rich Little, joins us.
Do you know the best way to fight breast cancer? Find it early, when you can still do something about it. Now there's a place, the Women's Breast Centers, with the most modern diagnostic equipment available for early breast cancer detection, with a woman-to-woman approach. Call the Women's Breast Centers for your complete test, because the best way to fight breast cancer is to find it early.
Call Women's Breast Centers, 357-2050.
Beckwith Evans is overstocked. We must move over $2 million worth of carpet, including this special purchase, ultra-luxurious plush of Antron nylon from Cabin Crafts. Save 50%. Now only $13.99 a yard, completely installed. Every area rug, every remnant, every vinyl. If it's in stock, you save up to 65%. The inventory reduction sale through Monday. Completely installed prices every day. At Beckwith Evans, buying carpet has never been easier.
People in Michigan can find a few things to disagree about. But there's one thing they can always agree on. Verner's.
What? Sesquicentennial. Sesquicentennial.
Sesquicentennial. You try it. I don't know. Sesquicentennial.
Sesquicentennial.
Sesquicentennial. Michigan's 150th birthday. The sesquicentennial. You don't have to say it to celebrate it.
Thank you. We're back with Tipper Gore. Why did you form your group? What was your basic reason or first reason?
The purpose was to try to alert parents to the changes in content and some of the entertainment that their children would find available to them. Everybody's in their own world. Everyone's so busy. Some parents are working 2 jobs, and they're listening to their entertainment and seeing the movies that appeal to them. And the kids are really involved in the subculture, and a lot of adults have no idea what's going on in that subculture.
You got an astounding amount of publicity during congressional hearings. Frank Zappa fought you tooth and nail and continues to, I presume. His basis was free speech and censorship. Certainly things that are not to be taken lightly. I quail as a former news guy when I see the words censor, censorship. We all do. Maybe we overreact to that. How do you respond?
Well, I am adamantly opposed to censorship. And I think that many people have reacted thinking that we were proposing censorship. Now the story is becoming clearer and people are understanding we are not proposing censorship in any way, shape, or form.
What do you propose?
We propose creating a mechanism for choice so that people can make informed decisions in the marketplace. And virtually all entertainment media, whether it's television programming or movies, you have some idea of what the content is going to contain, whether if it's got profanity or violence or nudity, you know that. With music, there was no consumer information. So the Parents Music Resource Center talked with the record industry and said, we may not like this content, but that's your right, and that's the artist's right to have whatever song they want, but could you alert parents in the marketplace when it's going to be graphic or explicit or profane?
You mean in the way that movies are rated now?
Well,
would you like to see record stores set up that way?
Not
here's
rated.
the R records, here's the X records, here's the PGs and Gs.
I think that there can be more creative ways to distribute material that is explicit, yes, without changing the content. However, our proposal to the recording industry was just to either print the lyrics on the back of the albums or put a warning label on that says explicit lyrics, parental advisory.
I would think if you print the lyrics on the albums, people who buy them are going to say, "Hey, sing along." They've got the lyrics, they can go along with it. I don't think that would work.
That's their choice, though. People like Frank Zappa were saying a label is a judgment, even if it's the record company and the artist making it. It is a judgment, and he had no objection to printed lyrics, so it was a compromise.
What would you really like to see? You'd like to see it disappear?
I would hope to see people in the marketplace not buy into it, particularly where it glorifies violence and degrades women. I'd like to see the kids in the country say, you know, we're not going to give our money to groups like this, because it is promoting a certain kind of attitude, and it does affect younger kids that don't have judgment and discernment. That's clear.
I think probably the most, boy, I hate the label. I hate it. So I'll put it in quotes, rebellious segment of our society today are young people, teenagers. They're learning, they're feeling their way through this outpouring of information, good, bad, and indifferent,
right,
that in a way that no other generation has ever had to face.
Exactly.
And I think it would be very difficult to say, hey, you can't listen to that, you can't watch that, you can't read this, you can't go see that, you can't buy this over here, because if they don't buy the record, a friend of theirs will. They'll go hear it anyhow. How do you handle that? What do you tell parents?
What I tell parents is to communicate with their children and to tune into their world. I think what's happening, and in my discussions with a lot of kids, the kids tell me, I try to get my mom or dad to sit down and listen to an album with me, and they don't care. They don't have time. I say use it as
They hate the music, probably.
They don't like the sound, they don't like the music, and they don't take the time to share with their kids, either listening or going to a concert or watching TV. I say use the music or whatever form of entertainment your child is attracted to as a window into their world, and use it as a tool to communicate. Of course kids are going to be rebellious and kids are going to be curious about these things. At the same time, I think it's important to look at some of the commercial interests who are, I think, ripping off the kids. I mean, they're just exploiting them by selling them, by pandering to the very lowest levels of sex and violence and selling it to kids of any age.
Let's find out how our studio audience feels. I'm going to go right to them.
Okay.
And you'll hear them right after this.
Have you been a victim of a racist attack? Do you feel discriminated against? Call us right now at 298-6161. We want to talk to you.
Don't miss the blockbuster hit of the season, Evita, starring Florence Lacey, now through April 12th at the Birmingham Theater. Evita. Tickets at Ticketmaster or charged by phone.
Look now at Detroit Osteopathic Hospital. For now, we are Horizon, and we are a whole new way of living.
There's an easy way you can help prevent child abuse. Just check the CTF box on your Michigan income tax. Making them feel good makes you feel good.
It's just what I wanted, and it's on sale.
We thought we'd have to wait another year.
But at these prices, we can carpet now.
Carpet at never-before-low prices is just part of the story. There's more. You get a whole year of free credit, too. Look at this plush. Look at the colors, only $3.99. And this Mohawk cut and loop is only $6.88. Incredible. I have never seen so many sale carpets, here or anywhere else. And a whole year of credit is free, no interest, no finance charge.
Shop by Saturday night at New York Carpet World.
Low-income veterans and women in Detroit can receive free job placement assistance at any one of 4 Neighborhood Services Department Veterans Multi-Service Centers. Call 267-6584 for more information.
Excuse me, madam. I'm one of the Clouds who make White Cloud bathroom tissue.
Hi.
Yes, well, we're surveying folks like yourself to find out why you buy White Cloud. Is it because it's softer than any other or because it's thicker than any other?
I never bought White Cloud.
My heavens, I never thought of that. But surely you've tried it.
I've never tried it.
Well, try it you shall. Here, compare White Cloud to your brand. That is the leading brand, I might add.
This one is definitely softer. I could tell right away.
Well, it is made by Clouds. But now, compare how 280 sheets of each measure up.
Oh, definitely. This one is thicker.
Therefore?
I think I'm going to try the White Cloud.
Wonderful. But back to the survey. Will you buy it because it's softer or because it's thicker?
Well, I'd be buying White Cloud for both its thickness and its softness.
I see. That's one for softer and one for thicker. Now we're getting somewhere. White Cloud. Will you switch because it's softer or because it's thicker?
We're back with Tipper Gore.
Yes. I don't have too much of a comment as so much as when I listen to rock and roll, and my daughter's accused me enough times of saying, you don't listen to the music. Well, when she plays it, it doesn't make any sense. I prefer classical music and rock and roll just doesn't make sense.
Well, that's okay if you don't like the music. We're talking about the lyrics.
I know what you're saying about the lyrics, but some of the lyrics are so blended in together or so slurred together, I can't make head or tail of them.
Is this the first time today that you've heard some of the words?
Oh, no, I've read some of them, and she's written them out for me so I can see what's going on. I just don't hear them. Now, either I don't hear them in the sense that it's not really coming to me, or my mind doesn't want me to hear it.
Well, let me find a couple here for you to read there.
All right, no problem.
Please, not out loud. And you'll see why. How about that right there? This is from, it's a song called Necrophiliac. I think I mentioned that before. And the group is Slayers.
You mean up here?
Yeah, that's part of the lyric. Don't, just read it yourself.
Oh, I've seen it already.
Oh, you saw it? Oh.
Right.
Okay, so you don't approve that for your daughter, right?
No, sir.
Okay. Was there somebody else here? Yes, would you stand?
Okay, I have like two things to say. First of all, you said that the music that kids listen to is like a window into what they're like and everything. And like I'm a band, I listen to classical music, jazz music, and hard rock and everything. So how can you say that because one time in 10 I listen to hard music that I'm going to listen to what they're saying? And also, you said that like teen pregnancies and suicides have to do with the music we listen to. But if you look at the generation we have now, parents want us to get good grades, they want us to do good, they want us to go to college, they want us to be a great super kids. So how can music be the only thing that's making us commit suicide and do all these other things that mess up our lives?
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to explain that. I am not saying music is making kids commit suicide. I'm really trying to alert parents to what I think the burdens of today's youth feel. And I talk about the problems within the youth. Teen suicide, the pregnancy rate, runaways, child abuse, alcohol and drug abuse, all the problems. I talk about the choices that kids have to make now and the pressures, outside jobs, good careers, what does the future hold? I think kids today have a tremendous burden and they're growing up, you know, under the threat of a nuclear nightmare, etc. And they look at the future and it may look bleak. Now, I think all of these things are important factors to consider. At the same time, I think that the excesses, like an Ozzy Osbourne that appears with a gun to his head or pro-suicide lyrics, are important for parents to be aware of so that they can tune in and notice if their child is listening to this kind of music over and over. Obviously, you have a wide variety of tastes. Most kids listen to this music or go to these movies or whatever and watch television and they're all right. But there are a growing number of kids who are disturbed in some way or they're distressed. I mean, they're having problems, they're having trouble coping, and I think the parents can see what they're attracted to and use it as a warning, as a symptom, and then try to communicate with their child. I'm just trying to say that it's a symptom of many other things. I'm not trying to say music causes suicide, not at all. But I really am trying to give a plea for the kids. I think they're under a tremendous burden today with very little support and help from the adult population.
Okay, I've raised two sets of teenagers, one in the 60s and one I'm seeing one today, 70s. But what I did, I took the time to listen to their music. The music back in the 70s, the music in the 80s, forget it, they're two different things. But I'm also finding out the kids that are having the problems from the beginning like the heavy music. The ones that have a more basic, solid foundation will accept all types. It is on the individual child.
Exactly. There's going to be.
She's not saying music. She's saying lyrics, the words.
So, I think lyrics too.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I personally don't feel that the rock music or the TV shows we listen to can affect our outlook on life in general. But if it did affect a percentage of the people, wouldn't it only be the teenagers that already have suicidal tendencies?
Exactly. I mean, I think that's true. There are experts that are talking about suicides, and a lot of the kids that commit suicide, there's an average of 13 a day now, have attempted it before. They are depressed. There are other signs. The letters I have gotten from parents, even the letters of parents where the child has committed suicide, they don't blame them. They just say, if I'd only known that listening to Ozzy Osbourne's Suicide Solution over and over, or some of the other very depressing lyrics in some of the heavy metal would have clued me into how depressed my child was, and I didn't have any idea. That is the message that the parents are saying. Again, they could, if they knew what the music represented, and back to your question, I think the music's very important to teenagers, and it does give an identity to their emotions, to what they're feeling. It's in a form of expression. But our point is that the content has changed, and if a child is particularly listening to, particularly a young child or a teenager who's 13 or 14, and most of the teenage suicides are young males, and if they're particularly into heavy metal music with these themes, it may kind of legitimatize the idea that suicide is all right. If a group like Suicidal Tendencies has songs, Suicide's an Alternative. I mean, the cover of their album shows a drawing of a guy blowing his brains out. Well, it's important. I think many parents are not tuned in and they don't realize this, and I just think it's important that they do for their children who might be troubled.
We might be emphasizing the suicide aspects of this a little too much here, because the concern is also with sex, like some of the pictures you showed me, group sex is an example. I forget what the group is. The band, I mean. And drugs, violence, booze.
Exactly.
I'm a parent of a 10-year-old. I also am a vocalist, lead vocalist in a rock band here in Detroit. And you can go one way or the other. You can teach your children that it's okay to hear about it, because they're going to hear about it, and let them decide. Just let them all the way from the basics of like fairy tales and things. Let them know that there is fantasy, there is reality. And like today, there's balance of, like Billy Joel, for instance, talking about that, and then there is people who are theatrical or, for amusement purposes. And you got to tell the children that's fantasy. Take it one way. It's just like suicide. If you hear suicide in there, know that that is not, the purpose of the song. It's to let you know that there is suicide, there is reality.
That is one theory of parenting, and I understand that, and I think that's your right to do that in your home. I prefer to try to protect my children to a certain extent. I'm not trying to bring them up in a glass, bubble. I want them to be able to deal. I ideally want them to make critical choices about the media, and I'm trying to teach them, and the way to do that is through communication. But I don't think it's not to cut them off. I'm not advocating that or being rigid. I'm advocating communication more than anything else, and parents to be knowledgeable about the content that they're in the music and in the movies. However, I don't want my 9-year-old, I don't want to take her to a Beastie Boys concert, let's say, without knowing what's happening at the concert, and watch them strip a woman and put their mouths to her breast, which is exactly what's happening in their concert right now. Now, I don't think that's appropriate for my younger children. You might, but I advocate at least information to the consumer so that you can make a choice and you can protect your younger children.
Mrs. Gore, I'm sorry, time is gone.
Okay.
The book is called Raising PG Kids in an X-Rated Society, written by Tipper Gore, who's talked about a little bit of it today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back.
Afraid of going to the dentist? Find out why you needn't be anymore. Next.
Are you always trying to please other people? If so, you may be suffering from the good girl syndrome. We'll tell you how to break it on the next Donahue.
Weekdays at 4 on 7.
Here's Vanna White for Lasky Furniture.
Nothing's better than a great night's sleep from a Spring Air back supporter mattress, except maybe for a Spring Air mattress sale.
And no sale is better than a Lasky sale of Spring Air mattresses, such as Extra Firm from just $78. Lasky prices for Spring Air back supporters start at just $128.
After all, nothing refreshes like Spring Air.
And no one saves you money like Lasky Furniture. Open daily 9 to 9, Sunday noon to 6 in Detroit, Warren, Taylor, and Livonia.
Every day, we come face to face with a lot of old friends. Tom Collins, Margarita, Brandy. Some of them help us celebrate the good times. Sometimes we think they help us through the bad. But for some of us, these so-called friends have become enemies. If you drink too much or rely on other drugs, the Vail Center can help.
We're here when you need us.
The Vail Center. Turn to a real friend. The Vail Center at Lapeer General Hospital.
Before agents go to work for RE/MAX, they've already learned how to sell real estate. Because RE/MAX isn't a place for beginners or part-timers, and that's good news for anyone interested in buying or selling a home. Real estate agents join RE/MAX because they want to work with the best. Clients choose RE/MAX for the same reason.
Good
Good morning, this is Pam.
That's a fact worth waking up to.
Great. I'll see you at the closing.
Good news, RE/MAX, times are here.
If you asked your dirty clothes, they'd ask to be cleaned in different temperatures. So we took temperature-sensitive cleaners for hot, warm, and cold and combined them in new liquid cheer. Watch how new cheer gets clothes clean in hot, warm, and even in cold. So next time your clothes ask for all temperatures, give them a liquid that listens. Introducing new Liquid Cheer, one detergent that cleans like 3.
Well, everyone has to do it, but for some reason, going to the dentist sends us into tear, and I think it's the most broken appointment in the world. How many have made an appointment and broken it, right? Right? Our next guest says you don't have to have dental phobia anymore. I'd like you to welcome to Kelly and Company endodontist Dr. Gerald Dietz. Were you afraid of going to the dentist when you were a kid?
Yeah, I guess I was, and I think everybody has some fear of going to the dentist. You know, it's matter of fact, some people are so frightened of going that they don't go at all. And there's probably 30 million Americans that never go to the dentist.
How many out in the audience almost don't go to the dentist because they're afraid of going? Put your hands up. You just don't go? I can't believe. You don't go to the dentist. You almost don't go to the dentist. That's a phobia, right?
Well, it really is, and it's really a tragedy because eventually they'll get forced to go. I mean, you can only not go so long.
Should go once a year?
Well, once a year or twice a year. Depends on what you need and what your age is.
How many haven't been to the dentist for 5 years? 4 years? 3 years? Golly, a couple of hands up. Amazing.
Well, you can't expect everybody to admit it either. You know,
no.
But the tragic thing is that I think almost everybody is a little bit afraid to go, but that's not a true phobia. It's just a certain amount of trepidation, and but they get over it, and they handle it quite well. The amazing thing to me is how many people think that they're terrible. They think they're the worst patient that you ever had. I suspect that if I saw 15 or 18 people in a day, that 14 of them would proclaim that they're the worst patient that I'll ever have.
And they're really not.
Now, the patients that come to me are not my regular patients. They're sent for root canal work because that's all I do.
Now, we were talking yesterday in the office. We came up with a consensus that the most feared thing about going to the dentist is the needle, the Novocaine.
I think that's probably
Now,
true.
do you have a new way of doing this?
Well, the way I look at the needle is it's maybe the worst thing or the thing that you fear the most, but it's also your best friend because once you're numb, you'll feel absolutely nothing. I mean, there's absolutely no reason. If it isn't the needle that you fear, it's pain, and there should be
Show
no
us the
pain.
needle.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
That's another thing. We never see the needle. He keeps it behind his back.
I'm sort of not tool-oriented, but the thing is that I was asked to bring these, and I think that it's interesting. This is the...
There it is, folks.
Well, that's the instrument of torture,
Take
so
that
people think. But let me just take it apart for you for just a second. It's like the old
Don't
joke.
point it at me.
You only use part of it. But let's take this into its components. This is the needle, but all of this is just the carrier. Most of this, that's just the carrier. That's to bring the material to you. What is it that puts your jaw to sleep so that you don't feel anything? It's just this little tiny bit of fluid. It sits in here in a carpule, and that goes into here so that it carries it.
But sooner or later, it has to be jabbed into your jaw.
Yeah, and the business end of that thing is this. And it's, interestingly enough, until the 60s, they never even had throwaway needles. So the needles were quite large and frequently quite dull. And people that don't go to the dentist recently, almost every patient is amazed at how easy it is today. The gauge of these needles is only 30, it's like 30. They used to be like 23 or 25. That's so fine that...
I don't think you can even pick that up.
No, you can't even see it,
no.
but it's so tiny, and people are amazed that you can even use such a small thing.
Well, the smaller the needle, the less the pain.
Of course.
Right?
And the sharper. And these are in this kind of a thing because dentists now throw the needle away. They don't use... it's the old Army joke. When they used to go to the dentist and a needle would get used over and over and over and re-sterilized. And of course, we all know from the drug thing that reusing needles is a terrible thing. But all dentists throw away the needle. They only inject once. And the other thing about it, as long as we're talking about that, is that you shouldn't even feel that tiny needle because there's a thing called topical anesthetic. It comes in a jar.
You put that on.
And you take that little gel and you put that on the end of the stick and you rub that on the gum. And by the time that's on there, you really shouldn't feel the needle at all.
Second thing that we came up with is the sound of the drill.
Yeah.
That drives some people
Yeah.
right up a wall.
I think it does. You know,
Why can't you make that soundless?
It would be wonderful.
That would
if,
be wonderful.
If they did.
Noiseless. They can make all
Yeah.
these things. They can do all these things electronically. Couldn't they make a noiseless drill?
I wonder. Let's do it. We'll go in business.
You got the money to put it up?
I think, you know, if you've seen the people with the earphones, some of my patients
Walkman.
come in with Walkman,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
some people, it's a distraction, you know, and but most people, as a matter of fact, a lot of procedures, the drill isn't used very much. When I went to the dentist as a kid, drills are different than they used to be. I think it's nice to know that things have changed. When I was a kid, they used to use a drill and it was belt driven. Before there used to even be pumping actions to make them run. Along about 1960, they came
Yes,
up with...
we're that old, folks.
Along about 1960, they came up with air rotors. These are driven with air and they're high speed, and you use a delicate touch. It's almost like an artist's brush, the dentist. When we were kids and went to the dentist had to force. He had to be strong and he had to push. And strength was a big thing in dentistry. Now, 40% of people going to dental school are women. I mean, you don't think of that in terms of strength.
So
You
the
think
kids are
in
really lucky
terms of
today, aren't they?
Artistry, yes, they really are. And kids don't fear dentistry like
As much
adults.
as they used to?
As much
And
as
the
adults.
reason is because we were scared to death, because we had a reason to be
There was a
scared to
reason
death.
for it, there really
We'll be
was.
right back with more on dentistry.
Avery Brooks and Robert Urich of Spencer for Hire join us next week.
There really is only one place to buy your carpet, and that's in your home. Call Bob Jones, owner of Carpet Discounts, who will personally come to your home to show premium carpet samples and give you a discount price. All carpet is first quality nylon and guaranteed. 2 rooms for $197. Labor and padding also available at a discount. Call now for your free estimate. 545-4545.
You coming right?
Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Shampoo, rinse, cut, and style. A fantastic difference that'll make you smile.
Our $7.95 adult special, shampoo, rinse, cut, and style. A $14 value at other salons, just $7.95.
For the best ballerina in the world.
Thanks, Daddy. Ooh, you look fantastic. That's the fantastic difference at Fantastic Sam's.
Henry Ford Museum brings the 1930s and 40s back with the greatest of the Great Escape weekends. The Big Band era, March 28th and 29th. Shake the winter blues and swing into spring. Call 271-1620.
Lilt makes curls so easy. Lilt makes body so easy. Lilt makes the difference so easy. Beautiful hair is easy with Lilt's perming foam, because you see where it's going. For easy care hair. Lilt makes the difference so easy.
If there's something missing from your home workshop, check out the latest basics from True Value Hardware stores. This Master Mechanic self-igniting torch with propane is only $21.99. The Skill cordless screwdriver recharges in its own base, and it's just $19.99. Locate hidden wall studs with a Zircon stud sensor, only $13.99. And the rugged Tote-More tote tray from Plano offers lots of storage room. It's only $4.99 at participating True Value Hardware stores.
We're back talking to Dr. Jerry Dietz. The third thing we came up was root canal work. It sounds horrible because you pull the nerve out, don't you?
Yes, sort of.
Yes. I asked a lot of people during the break, and I've never had root canal work done, I don't think. I guess I would know, wouldn't I? But everyone said it didn't hurt. Doesn't hurt?
No, it really doesn't. It should, done properly, it should be painless. Endodontics is dentistry's newest specialty. It became a specialty in 1963. There's maybe 2,000 specialists in the United States and probably 65 in Michigan or so. And general dentists also do root canals. The more experience the person has that does the root canal for you, the better your experience ought to go.
Show us what you do.
Essentially,
what it's all about.
Root canal, called endodontics, the idea of it is that any tooth that might have to be extracted doesn't have to be extracted anymore. When in the olden days, in the 50s and 40s, 50% of people ended up in dentures. Now you don't have to lose your teeth, and people aren't losing them, and they refuse to lose them. If a tooth gets in trouble, if it's painful, if it has tooth decay, then that tooth can be kept. Instead of extracting it, all you do is make a little hole in the top of the tooth, and inside the tooth...
Kind of hold that still so we can get a good idea.
Yeah, right there. There it is.
There, now.
Inside the tooth, this shows decay going into the tooth, and down inside is a hollow part of your tooth, and that's a blood vessel and nerve, and it's soft, and it fills up the inside of your tooth. When decay gets to that, that inflames this pulp. It's sort of like, you can think of it like an appendicitis of the tooth. It gets all inflamed, it hurts, it's painful. And that's, instead of taking that tooth out, you just numb the jaw completely. And then, I know this seems a little gory, but it's illustrative. This is a large copy of some little tiny pins like this. These are little tiny files, and this is just to illustrate to you. The endodontist, or the dentist that's going to do the root canal, goes through the top of your tooth, and he goes down in here with these little tiny files. You feel nothing at all because you're totally numb. Well, and the people that have this done say that it's no worse than a filling. And the most common remark in our office is that all there is? Is that what I was so frightened about? They took a poll and they found that people feared endodontics the most in root canal, but the people that feared it had never had a root canal. And when they asked the people that had a root canal, they didn't have that fear of it. So
well, why don't they feel that? Because it's all numb when they're doing it.
Yeah, it's totally numb. Now, the other part of that story is that when it's done, then the nerve is out of the tooth, and now you have it hollow like this. You can't leave it hollow, and usually at the second appointment, the dentist goes down and he fills up all this space. So he stuffs the tooth. Once it's stuffed, then a filling is put back on the top, and then you don't have to have that tooth extracted, and that's a wonderful thing.
There's some questions out here.
Mine doesn't deal with a root canal, but my husband is 23 years old, and he lets his tooth hurt until it goes to his ear, to his foot, and everything else. He just won't go to the dentist because he says when he was 8 years old, he had an abscess, which was just terrible. So now he lets him hurt until he basically can't function totally.
Well, then what does he do then?
Then what does he do?
Then I drag him out, and we go to the closest dentist that we can find, which is what happened in October. He had a tooth, I think it was an abscess or something. I had to literally drag him to the dentist. And when he got there, he always tells the receptionist about his 8-year-old experience. So I don't know what to do.
Well, when you drag him to the dentist, does the dentist remove his tooth, or does he fix it and keep it?
Yeah, he did have to have it removed.
Yeah.
I guess so, after all that.
Well,
It's lucky he didn't have his foot removed, right?
Well, the thing to remember is that an abscessed tooth can be saved, and any tooth that's in trouble can be saved by doing a root canal for him.
Getting back to the needle, I'm not afraid of the dentist. I'm one of the few. But, when they put the needle in your tooth, they kind of jiggle it where it's no pain. And I'm one of those people who've had a root canal, and I didn't feel anything. So everybody go to the dentist, because you have to keep your teeth for a really long time.
That's nice to hear. I think the jiggling is a distraction. That's what it does.
We have no more time. All right. Well, I'm not terrified of the dentist. I must tell you, I've broken 4 appointments in the last month, I think, with the
Shame on you.
Only because I couldn't make my schedule fit in with their cancellations. That's why, no, I'm not that afraid of the dentist. And you really should see the dentist, really once a year.
As long as you cancel and don't just not show up.
Oh, I'm going to get there eventually. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
We'll be right back.
ABC News correspondent Sam Donaldson tells what it's like to follow the president. Tuesday.
It's the dawn of a brand new day.
Introducing new Sunspray Coast. Same Great Coast lather, but a whole new scent.
Coast Sunspray picks you up in a brand new way. Like the fresh, clean feeling of a brand new day. Coast picks you up and makes you feel alive. Yeah, Coast, feel alive with Coast.
New new Sunspray Coast and invigorating regular Coast, too.
He's got it under control. When it comes to finances, many people don't have control. Financial Counselors of America can help. Finances, she's got them under control. Whether it's debt, credit, or bills, FCA has a money management program right for you. FCA helped them get control. FCA will buffer you from creditors and help take away your money worries. Let Financial Counselors of America help you get your finances under control.
March into spring, march into savings, march into Famous Footwear's $16 March shoe sale. Choose from over 1,000 names, out on special racks so they're easy to see, easy to try, easy to buy, at a price that'll blow you away. Just $16 a pair, 2 pairs for $29, while they last. Don't miss it. Famous Footwear's $16 March shoe sale, on now. Forward march!
Coming up on 7's Action News 5 p.m., round-the-clock talks to try and avert a threatened strike that would put thousands of local workers on the picket line. Action News on the scene with the city's most complete coverage. More testimony in the murder-arson case stemming from the warehouse fire that killed 3 firefighters on the job. Lawmakers scrutinizing changes in the State Corrections Department in the wake of the brutal murder of a female guard at Jackson. Steve with a look at the wings and all the sports. Rob with a forecast that could put a smile on your face. Action News, 5 p.m. tonight.
Tomorrow, Rich Little is going to be here with some of his favorite people, all in his own extraordinarily creative mind.
And the famous People Players will be here to show how they have entertained and moved people all over the world.
And coming up in the weeks ahead, some of our guests include Sam Donaldson, direct from ABC News in the White House, Alice Faye,
the First Lady Betty Ford, Robert Urich and Avery Brooks of Spencer for Hire, Hunt Block of Knots Landing.
That's not his real name. Could it be his real name? Hunt Block?
Oh, amazingly, some of them are their real name.
The
okay,
Judds.
Mother and daughter. Singing
Mother
team,
singer.
the Judds.
Richard Dean Anderson, he's MacGyver. He's going to be here. Yeah. Oh, finally got a mumble
it's
out
a
there.
biggie.
Good. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. And come see us.
For tickets to be in the Kelly & Company studio audience, call 298-6161 and pick a day to come down. Any information on today's show can be heard by calling the hotline at 298-6700. Ground transportation for some Kelly & Company guests provided by Statewide Limousine. Maryland's clothes provided by Roz and Sherm of Bloomfield Plaza. Maryland shoes and accessories provided by Roz and Sherm, Bloomfield Plaza and Somerset Mall. Maryland's hairstyle by Jeffrey. Maryland's makeup by Sandra, both at Daniel J. Salon, Farmington Hills. John's Clothing provided by the Claymore Shop and the Ralph Lauren Polo Shop of Birmingham.